Hello, good morning and welcome to Argyle Breakfast. It is the only way to start your match day here with us at Plymouth Argyle. Hope you're having a good day. It is another big one coming up this afternoon and we'll be with you to cover all of it here on the Breakfast Show and of course during the match later. 2 hours of fun coming up for you this morning on the Breakfast Show as usual, warming you up for that crucial championship game against Derby. 2 of the bottom 3 in action later on. And coming up over the next couple of hours, we've got lots on for you. We'll be reflecting on yesterday's FA Youth Cup defeat against Aston Villa, and we'll be hearing from someone who's experienced playing at Villa Park with Argyle. We'll also be exploring the life of Ray Bowden, who played for Argyle in the 20s and 30s. His granddaughter is loaning some artefacts from his career to the Plymouth Argyle Heritage Archive. And we'll have former Argyle youngster Matt Lecointe with us. His is a tale of what might have been but for injuries, and he'll be with us about 11:30 or so. So do stay tuned for all of that. Lots of live guests in the studio today. And a reminder, this is the last game before the next international break. So get your match passes over at pafc.co.uk so you can tune in for this one and get your football fix for the next couple of weeks. Now, helping to keep me company this morning is, as always, Aaron Cusack. Hello, Aaron.
Hello, Aaron. Good morning.
Nice to see you. You are sat in your usual place.
I am.
People can see we've got a spare chair in here this morning because we are hoping to have Adam Randall in very shortly.
He's late.
He's late. You did want to make a point of that,
He's
didn't
late,
you?
you know. Fine him, I say. So, yes, he's late. So that hence why the chair's in the middle.
Yes, so we'll hope to be joined by him in a minute and have a little chat about how things are going in the squad. As for you, Aaron, you are here.
I am.
How are you? And, you know, we know we're coming up to, well, we're still in a very crucial time for the club with the games that are coming up, but this one feels particularly important with that battle at the bottom.
Yeah, I mean, Erin, if I'm honest, this is it. They have to win today. There's no other alternative, I don't think. Like, this is the last game of playing against a team in and around them. And if they don't take 3 points today, I just can't see a way out. I really can't. They've given themselves a mini revival with a good win in the week. What didn't help was other teams around them. I think 5 of the bottom 7 all won.
Yeah, it never seems to go our way,
does it? It's typical. But, you know, they can only control their own kind of destiny. And control the teams that they play against. So, you know, as a minimum of 3 points is the target today. You know, no other alternative available.
Now, this afternoon's game, as you may have heard, is quite a special one. The front of shirt sponsors, Classic Builders, have generously offered the prestigious spot on the front of the kit to local care charity St Luke's Hospice, which I'm sure for those of you living in and around Plymouth, you'll all be very familiar with. Nurses and other staff from the charity are at the game today, and there are 300 limited edition shirts on offer, and they've sold out at the club shop as well, which is fantastic news. It's all to raise awareness and to raise money for the charity, which has touched a lot of lives down here in the southwest. And I'm very thrilled to be joined in the studio to talk all about it by Darren Wills from Classic Builders and Debbie Hutchinson, who is a nurse from St Luke's. Hello both. Thank you so much for being here. You are showing off the shirt with the St Luke's Hospice Plymouth sponsor. Of course, the Classic Builder sponsor looks great, but so does this. I mean, what a nice touch. What was the, you know, how did this all come about?
So from the early days, so Fred, you know, one of the main directors at Classic, was scheming to do something from St Luke's. To be honest with you, we've done lots with St Luke's over the years. I lost my mum there a long time ago. I've had friends, mums that have been lost at St Luke's, so it's a charity that's quite close to our hearts. And to be fair, we're always scheming to do something for them. So, you know, from quiz nights to golf days and various different things. And this was, it gave us a fantastic platform to be able to raise money again. And yeah, you've been aware of it for some time now, haven't you?
Absolutely, yeah. And not so long ago, Fred came round with some VR machines so that patients that can't get out could have the VR machine and have that experience.
Oh, fantastic. I mean, what's the reaction, you know, as someone that's part of St Luke's, what's the reaction been like having seen, you know, this shirt sponsor change for this game?
Oh, it's been overwhelming. Everyone's looking forward to today. They can't wait. It's just overwhelming how generous Classic Builders have been. Darren and Fred have been so generous. with their time as well, which is is great for us.
Yeah, I guess it's thinking about different ways to kind of raise awareness. Like you said, you do different things, but this I think is unique in itself, isn't it?
It is, and a lot of work's gone in. We got 2 other partners that sit in the background that help us and help us facilitate all of the things that we do. And it's been fun along the way, to be honest. We've had lots of meetings, trying to pull everything together to raise the awareness that the charity is severely in debt at the moment. It needs a lot of support. Hopefully the people of Plymouth will understand that they still need support and don't take it for granted, and the more that all of us can do to try and help keep this palliative care hospice going, we'll keep it going for many years to come.
Now, what could you tell us about Ray Bowden? Well, I'll tell you, he was a key player here at Argyle in the 20s and 30s. Upon leaving home park, he won the FA Cup and 2 league titles with Arsenal, as well as playing 6 times for England. Now, obviously, you can see I had to make sure I got all of that right, because that's quite a few accolades, a true Argyle legend. Now, a load of his shirts, caps and other playing memorabilia is now on display at the Far Post Club here at Home Park, after being kindly loaned to the Plymouth Argyle Heritage Archive by Ray's granddaughter Annie. Now, I'm pleased to say that Annie is joining us here live in the studio alongside Matt Ellicott from the archive. Hello both, thank you for being here. It was a real, a little bit of back history to get into there about Ray. I have to be honest, I didn't know very much about Ray Bowden before, finding out you were coming on the show today. So I'm really interested to dig into this and learn a little bit more. Of course, your granddad. Did you get to know him? What was, because some people have only a fleeting amount of time with grandparents. Things. What was your relationship like?
So yeah, I saw him quite a lot when I was growing up. So I was he didn't die until I was about 16, but honestly, he was the most understated, unassuming guy, so he never bragged about all of those accolades, so you would not have known. Other than when he was in his 80s, he could still do keepy-uppies. I mean, so he was remarkably athletic still, but he actually spoke more about his snooker skills than football. Did you have an appreciation for having, a footballer for a granddad then, or was it, like you said, quite a humble experience? So I used to just say to my schoolmates, my granddad played football for, XYZ in England, and that was quite cool, but I didn't dig into the full details. So there's lots of conversations now, knowing all that we do, that I wish I could have with him. Yeah, no, of course. It's one of those things, isn't it? It's you always come up with the questions afterwards. But fantastically, I guess you were, handed down some of his memorabilia, and rather than keep hold of it, it's now gone into the hands of the archive. So, Argyle fans and football fans in general can have a little, a taste of his life and his experience, which is really lovely. Yeah, well, all of this stuff, it's been really badly in black sacks in one loft or another for decades, so it's fantastic that it's now seeing the light of day and other people can appreciate it. So thank you to the archive for making this happen. So, Matt, talk me through the process of the archive getting involved with displaying some of this.
So we have like most archives, we have a website, and Paul, Annie's dad, got in touch about a year ago, offering just the most amazing list of objects you've ever seen. We've brought a small selection, and we jumped at the chance. There is nothing in our experience like this. Really? No, we have other caps, but in terms of medals and caps and everything else as a collection, there's nothing we've experienced. So not bad for keeping it in a bin bag. It's preserved remarkably well indeed. Yeah, you've done. Well, for things 90 years old, the condition is absolutely amazing. Can you talk us through some of the items we've got? We're showing people at home on the screen there. So this is one of the shirts and the caps. So the shirt you just looked at was Ray's shirt from the FA Tour of Canada in 1931, which is the cap and the medal you can see on screen there now. And I think what's really important about that, it's the first FA representative honour won by an Argyle player while they were still at the club. Oh, wow. So Ray was absolutely exceptional in Argyle experience. He was the first player to start his career here at Argyle and go on and win England honours. So the red cap that passed through the screen just now was from his first game in 1934 for England against Wales. He set up Stanley Matthews for his debut England goal in that match, so quite something. And as you said, he went on to play 6 times for England, scoring 1 goal.
Hello, you're watching Argyle Breakfast with me, Erin Black and Aaron Cusack. Now, as you know, the Argyle Community Trust do some amazing work here in Plymouth, and we love to highlight everything that goes on with them in the community here on Argyle TV. So you might remember this from about this time last year when we had a host of EFL Community Champions.
I'm really honoured to receive this award today. To be perfectly honest with you, I was extremely surprised because of the amount of good work a lot of people do within the community of the Trust. One of the reasons why I wanted to become involved was because everybody talks about the Argyle Community Trust as being the Argyle Football Club, but it's much more than it just being football. Over the last few years, around the Christmas period, I've been delivering Christmas hampers, but that's generally been to community centres. So I've not actually seen the faces behind the people who are actually receiving the hampers. This year, I actually went to the doors of the people who were receiving them, and I took a hamper to one particular family, and I wished them, I hope you have a lovely Christmas. And the response back was, we'll do our best. And I walked away, and I was just in floods of tears. It was so upsetting to see that this family, which obviously had young children, they were in such a state that they didn't even know that they could enjoy Christmas. A lot of them have had their lives changed by the Trust. I've met people who've literally been taken off the streets, young children who wouldn't have had the life which they're having today, and because of the Trust they've been developed, they've been given certain life skills, they've now got jobs, and some of them are even running their own businesses. And it's stories like that which kind of make you feel, you know, what we are doing is well worthwhile.
I'm delighted to be here to be able to recognise Steve for the fantastic work that he's done across the years. He's a very kind and generous man that donates a lot of his time into the programmes that we run at the Trust, which is all voluntary, and I couldn't be happier to be able to provide him with that reward. Steve is one of the first people that fans and staff see, whether that's on a match day, whether that's in our estate-based programmes, or whether that's delivering hampers and all the other work that Steve has done.
Well, if one community nomination isn't enough, Steve has gone and got another one. This time it's the Trust's community captain for the Premier League's More Than a Game campaign. And Steve joins Aaron and I in the studio now. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah,
and thanks for bringing this along as well to let us have a look at, but you got to show it off. you got to show it off.
Yeah, so yeah, the trophy, I mean, just completely over the moon to be receiving it. There's so many great people which we've got in the Trust. So for me to be nominated for this was just, it just means so much because I don't do it for rewards such as this. I do it to kind of help people, and it's just a great thing to receive. So yeah, I got the captain's armband as well, which people were trying to get me to wear last week whilst I was walking the mascots onto the pitch.
Oh, nice.
So, but yeah, I did refuse to wear that, and also the shirt, and I didn't think it probably looked too good.
That is jazzy, that.
Yeah, I think I might have to have it framed.
Get it framed, absolutely.
Yes, Kaya Galleries, I'm going to have to speak to Chris, I think, to get that framed.
I think he would be more than happy to frame something that's associated with Argyle. Talk us through your work then with the Trust. How did you get into it? What is it that you enjoy so much about it?
Really, it was down to my son. My son's a footballer. He was coming up through the ranks, the age, I think he must have been about 7 or 8. In fact, it must be longer ago than that because it's nearly 10 years. And he was going to the road shows, and he was part of the player development at the time. And he had a favourite footballer at Argyle at the time, Oscar Threlkeld, and he was his hero, his idol, and he kind of looked up to him. So he started doing his hair like him and things like that. So my son kind of became kind of well known with some of the Trust staff, and it just became, because he was well known, they obviously got speaking to me. And just speaking to more of the staff and hearing about what the Trust actually does, it kind of opened my eyes really, because you just think of the Trust as being, it's football, it's Argyle Community Trust, but it's much more than that. And it was quite touching to kind of hear the stories. I mean, hearing some of the stories now from, Dwayne. Dwayne speaks, he's fantastic with words. The disparity of the life expectancy from one side of the city to another, and it's just, well, we've got to do something about this. We've got to help people. So I just kind of wanted to get involved and kind of spread the word, really, to help other people, because I'm in business, like I volunteer. I'm an insurance broker by day, so I kind of know a lot of businesses. And a few years ago with a Project 35, they had a six-a-side football tournament. So I was in it, and people kind of, well, why are you playing for the Trust? So I remember speaking to a few people, and they had no idea what the Trust did. So I said to Matt, who was one of the organisers, I said, the presentation evening, do you mind me hijacking the presentation? Because I want to say a few words. She's like, yeah, no problem at all. So I kind of got up in front of a lot of the people who are new, solicitors, accountants and property developers and things like that. I just said, look, I'm an insurance broker, but I'm here today because of the Trust. What do they do? Like everybody's football, they do football. No, they don't. They do mental health, disability, the KICS program, taking people, off the streets and essentially giving them, a better career opportunity, business opportunities. And they were all gobsmacked, they couldn't believe what the Trust did.
Okay, it's that time of the show again for the 72 in 72 challenge. 72 seconds to name as many of the 72 EFL teams as possible. The score to beat is Aaron's 54.
54, yes.
He's got it
been
right this
verified
time.
A number of times.
It's Adam Randall's turn this week, and I think this is going to be one that you want to watch. Let's have a look now.
Ooh. Hi, I'm Adam Randall, Plymouth Argyle midfielder, and this is my 72 in 72.
Right, are you ready?
Yes.
3, 2, 1, go.
Plymouth Argyle, Accrington, Birmingham, Bradford, Burnley, Bolton, Blackpool, Blackburn, Bristol City, Bristol Rovers, Cardiff, Colchester, Carlisle, Crewe, Crawley, can't remember, Derby, Doncaster, Exeter, Fleetwood, Gillingham, Grimsby, Hull, Harrogate, Huddersfield, Ipswich, Luton, Leeds, Lincoln, Leyton Orient, Mansfield, Morecambe, Middlesbrough, Millwall, Norwich, Notts County, Newport, Oxford, Rotherham, Reading, Salford, Swindon, Sheffield Wednesday, Sheffield United, Stockport.
Ooh, that's a good effort there.
43.
I was holding my breath there. Yeah, absolutely.
I think your position on the table remains secure.
I hope so.
But in terms of players, I mean, well, there we are. Adam Randall now joint second place with Ryan Perks. Yeah, he almost got you.
Oh, he did, didn't he? He's clawed me in nearly.
But
you're still there,
yes,
Erin.
let us all take a moment. I'm still amazingly in the top 10.
So Rans is the only player who's made the top 10.
Yeah, which is a feat in itself.
Absolutely.
Oh, it's great to see that leaderboard. Still
it is.
clinging on by my fingertips. We'll have to get you back in to do it another time. Now you've seen it in action. We'll have to get you back in. And before we let you go, we've got 10 minutes before the end of the breakfast show. What are you up to now, career-wise? Where did it go for you after football?
After football, that's an interesting story. I didn't do anything for 6 or so months, and then I ended up labouring for a family friend, and then after that I joined my dad's business, where I still am now, Home Supply, and we're a bathroom showroom based down at Faraday Mill in Plymouth.
Brilliant.
Oh, amazing.
And do you enjoy it?
Yeah, you get out and about, you get to meet a lot of different clients, different personalities, and it's good.
And in terms of your relationship with the club, then obviously it didn't end how you would have liked it to. Do you still keep in touch with people from your cohort? Do you still follow the club? Where do you stand on it?
Well, my best friend James Bradley is now he's a coach in the academy and is now the Argyle women's manager currently.
We
so we speak every day, so he's always telling me bits about the club, and I still follow the club and get to the games when I can.
Fantastic. So you're gonna be able to stay and watch today's game, or are you off?
Yes, I'm going to stay and watch today's game. I'm not sure it's going to be the best game of football we'll ever see, but it is one of those cliche 6-pointer games. So hopefully we can pick up the 3 points.
Well, you know, because you've played, you know, was it your debut, you said, against Dagenham? Was that your four? Was that your
That's my first goal.
Goal. So that was a six-pointer.
It really was, yes.
So you know firsthand what it's like to be in a dogfight, so to speak, in a relegation battle. So like you said then, it's probably not going to be the prettiest. And Dave Byrne earlier said, whoever defends the best will probably win the game, you know, and that sounds obvious, but they've got to be on it, haven't they? Make sure they
just got to stick together, no matter what happens. You go a goal down, you go 1-0 up, you stick together, you see the game out.
Absolutely.
I mean, scoring, like you having scored a goal in kind of your equivalent of a big 6-pointer, what was the pressure like? Were you in your head thinking like, I have to score a goal in this game, or were you able to kind of take a step back and come at it a bit more fluid, a bit more naturally?
It wasn't necessarily I had to score a goal, it was I had to give something to the team, the performance, and the goal was just a bonus. I was there at the right time, stuck it in the back of the net, but the main thing was just winning the game. We've got to find a way to win the game, and I've got to try and help out and be involved somehow.
Yeah, being the one that puts the ball in the back of the net is
it's
a
always
little
a nice
bit
thing.
personal icing on the cake, I guess. Yeah, it's going to be, Argyle are in a really difficult position at the minute. I think we said earlier, it's a case of, you can see that everybody getting the pitch ready for this afternoon, but it's going to be a case of, I think whichever way it swings today is kind of, that's the way it's probably going to end up going, isn't it?
I think so. I mean, what was disappointing last weekend was how well they started, and we've already alluded to it, and then midway through the second half, when they went 2-0 up Sheffield Wednesday, you just couldn't see a route back. So I think it's a way in which they respond when they go behind. What they haven't done more times than not this year is go in front, like they did the other night, and be able to hold on to the lead. They held on brilliantly in the other night with 11 minutes added on time with the red card. So can they get their noses in front? They've got to capitalise on good moments. Millwall, I think, is the only game this year I felt that they've taken the game away from the opponent. But earlier in the season, Blackburn at home, we won in the 96th minute. Should have been out of sight, So we've just got to make sure if we get those chances, take them away from Derby as quickly as they can.
11 minutes added on as well the other day.
Oh, it was crazy, wasn't it?
I thought it was going to be sick.
Well, Charlie said, I didn't realise this, I think the last 3 fixtures at Fratton Park ended 2-2.
Oh, right.
And Pompey had equalised in all 3 of them late, or there'd been a late equaliser to make it 2-2. So it was kind of, to hold out against 10 men, against having 10 men, was credit to their resilience. And, it was a massive 3 points.
Have you ever had that amount of minutes added on in because it's a lot, is it? I mean,
it seems to be like a new,
recent
thing.
Last year,
2 or 3 years
hasn't it?
Since the World Cup or the Euros, where they started adding on ridiculous amount of minutes.
So they add it on now. It makes sense because it prevents teams from necessarily time wasting.
Yes.
And now it's like, we'll take as long as you want. We know it's going to get added on.
Because the norm's like 8 minutes now.
It's
quite ridiculous.
It's quite common. I mean, like as a player to be there at the 90th minute and then somebody's like, keep it going.
Well, I knew it was going to be up 5 or 6 because Pleggy got injured, all the subs were made, and then
I think it's what
it was 11.
Become used to as well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, 11's a lot. I think we may have the table to be able to look at just to get a reminder of where we are. So you can see Argyle there, 24th, bang at the bottom of the table. There is the cut-off line just above Derby. When you look at the points there, it's you're trying not to make it a numbers game. We've spoken about it before. The players in the team, they just want to win where they can, but the maths is quite important at this point.
Yeah, the goal difference is massive as well. So if you look at Cardiff, as you know,
it's an extra point.
It is, isn't it? So it's 4 points realistically with Cardiff. Oxford, Stoke, Hull have all picked up results. Although Oxford are falling a little bit now under Gary Rowett. They had a bit of a resurgence when he first came in, but they're starting to just drift towards the bottom. But when you think, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm sure last year Birmingham went down on 50 points.
Really?
Yeah, I'm sure we had 51. So if you look at it, it's clearly not going to be that this year, but the remaining games, we'd need to get 18 points in the remaining 8 games, which
it's a big ask.
It's a big ask, isn't it? It's a big ask, And plus in those fixtures, you've got Sheffield United at home, Leeds United at home on the last day of the season. I mean, imagine having to go into that, having to win but you might have to win by 4 or 5 to stay up on goal difference.
But then Leeds, you know, might not be bothered at that
No,
point.
they might be up there,
but they might not be.
No, that's true. You know,
so, yeah, we need to be safe, really.
Yeah.
I think realistically,
if they fancy doing us, you know, if they could sort themselves out and do us a favour at the very last game, I think that would be lovely.
Well, Rand said this morning, first one guest on, he said if Derby could just let us win, you know, you think, yeah, I'm sure they'll do that.
They're definitely going to do that. I mean, there you've got our next 6 fixtures up on the screen: Watford, Norwich, Swansea, Sheffield, as you said.
I think Norwich at home is winnable because they are, you know, quite eclectic. Don't we're going to get Swansea is beatable, and I think Middlesbrough away is winnable as well. But Coventry at home, I mean, they've on a good run with Frank Lampard, haven't they? I think they've won 9 of the last 11.
Yeah, incredible.
So there's lots of big fixtures still to play. But realistically, Middlesbrough are vulnerable, Swansea are vulnerable, and Norwich are beatable at home.
Yeah, and again, you know, interesting run, seeing some familiar faces again, you know, on the opposition teams and how that'll all play out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Always adds a little extra dynamic.
You don't want the certain someone to score a winning goal to send us spiralling again.
No, right. And you know, if Coops fancies
a
day off.
Yeah. I mean, we'd love it. Unfortunately, life's never that easy, but you can but hope.